Welcome back to Chaos Corner, here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. Coming to you live to tape 25 feet below the surface of the Earth for another episodic YouTube adventure. The GOAT. And who is the GOAT of the WWF/WWE? Part 4. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. Thanks to my mods, Austin Nance. I appreciate you, brother. And the OTS Tribal Queen, we miss you. Holding it down, keeping it real, and maintaining. Follow me over on X, aka Twitter, at Big Daddy GOC, and the GOC stands for the Guardian of Chaos. We are in part 4 of who is the GOAT of the WWF WWE. Go back and check out the first 3 parts. We covered Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's been one heck of a ride. And very interesting source. I'm here for a much needed stress reliever, temporary distraction. Also, and who is the GOAT, we also covered Andre the Giant. So let that sink in, of the stars that we've covered in this debate, a top 10, so to speak, of who is the GOAT. The Rock. Quite simply, the biggest star that the wrestling industry has ever produced. Dwayne Johnson's journey from American football reject to the best paid actor in Hollywood is a story for the ages. From the first moment that the man known to wrestling fans as The Rock turned his attention to the big screen, it was apparent that the movie bosses felt that they had found something special. His $5.5 million paycheck, which is triple that by now, I'm sure, right? For the Scorpion King in 2002, movie check, not his wrestling check, was reportedly the highest ever for a performer in the first leading role. Nowadays, he earns, around $20 million per production and more. And some of his most successful films have grossed over $1 billion at the box office. Although the new one, that the Smash King or Smash It, whatever it is, I think it kind of flopped. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Over $1 billion. Imagine what he's making now, especially with his different salaries. I mean, the guy's unbelievable. By way of comparison, Hulk Hogan's No Holds Barred made $16 million, and his next 4 movies made a combined $11 million. Different times, that's for sure. In 2021, Johnson himself earned a reported $42 million. Meanwhile, Stone Cold Steve Austin took home around $8.5 million during his most lucrative year in the WWF. I sound like Captain Lou Albano. Quite simply, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's earning power now dwarfs that of anyone else who's ever been involved in professional wrestling. And as I've done in the last 3 shows here, 3 episodes, 3-parter, this is the 4-parter, I also have a brief history with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We worked together when I was working for the AWA Superstars of Wrestling with the illustrious Johnny Stewart, the Twin Turbos, Justin Roberts. We did an opening for Bally's in Brooklyn, where The Rock was on the same show making an appearance, in-ring appearance for the GOC. 2004, I want to say, thousands of people lined the city. It was unbelievable to sit there and briefly be able to be introduced to The Rock and talk to him in a nice photo op. So I do have a small but brief history with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He was quite the guy back then. I'm sure he's a lot different now. Again, I want to say it was 2004 with Justin Roberts, Johnny Stewart. Do your research, man. Justin Roberts, the AEW, perhaps the best ring announcer of the last 2 decades. He put me over in his book, too. Chapter 5. I respect the Booker man, Justin Roberts. Best seat in the house. He talks about The Rock and our introduction and Terry Funk and the Jerry Springer show. So I like to throw that in there as why you're here and the product of why you would come to this channel than any other channel. Nobody works harder, comes up with facts, and has the history that I do that's in this business right now. 1.5 million total views, 6,500 videos. Drop an elbow on that like button. Share, subscribe, become a member. It's the best way to support this channel. Let me get back to the GOAT of the WWE here. The list that we've been going through in this 4-part series. We're on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I just like to throw these personal stories out. It makes this channel different, as I said. I hope it makes a difference of why you're a subscriber or member here, or even a viewer. I really do appreciate it. All chicanery aside, with the Guardian of Chaos. The Rock really is something. Although he fucked up WrestleMania and the whole steal your soul, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, and then disappeared. The final boss. Come on, Rock. Somebody give a prediction of where you think The Rock's going to be next. Will he come back to the WWE? What is he, stockholder in TK? He'll be back. He'll be back. It was interesting and blew you away for a little while, didn't it? The whole Cody Rhodes and Rock thing. But then with Cena, and then the way that ended up and where he is now, he's only got, a couple matches left? So it's funny that the final 2 guys I have on the list here are The Rock leading into John Cena, which, stick around, don't go anywhere. Let's get back to The Rock. Focus, Chaos. Wow, 42 million. The Rock's, Dwayne Johnson, earning power now dwarfs that of anyone else who has ever been involved in professional wrestling. Although it took Hollywood until the early 2000s to realize what they were dealing with, the wrestling world had already figured out several years earlier. He's certainly not the GOAT, in my opinion. But it's up for conjecture and debate. You make your own opinion. Use your own discernment. Initially rejected by fans when he made his debut in 1996, as smiling do-gooder Rocky Maivia, his transformation into stylish bad boy The Rock during 1997 was the moment that many in the grappling industry saw Johnson's potential. A third-generation star with handsome features and bags of charisma. Speaking of third generation, you guys know my connection with the Samoan dynasty. I used to talk to The Rock's grandma, Leah Maivia. Early 90s, maybe middle 90s for Polynesian Pacific Pro Wrestling. Almost moved out to Hawaii to get booked. Leah said, "You get out here, Big Daddy, and we'll use you." Needless to say, it didn't happen like most things in my career. I come from nothing. I have nothing, and I still own most of it. Always got to have a little humbleness here and be able to laugh at yourself, especially in this world. Focus. My mind's like a lazy Susan. It'll come back around. This is part 4. I've been at it for a while. Austin, let them know how I am the Guardian of Chaos. Okay. Again, Hollywood until the early 2000s to realize what they were dealing with. And several years earlier, The Rock and his debut in 96. And The Rock during 1997 was the moment that many saw his potential. A third-generation star, as we said. The Rock's signature catchphrases and effortless swagger meant the fans were never going to boo him for long. He marked his 2-year anniversary in the WWF by becoming one of its youngest world champions ever. And even though that victory involved swerving the fans to keep him as heel for a while longer, he was primed to become the biggest fan favorite in the company. That opportunity finally presented itself in late 1999 when Stone Cold Steve Austin had to take a year off for neck surgery. Johnson took the reins and helped the WWF have its best year ever to that point in 2000. Remember the time frame. It was around this time that his appearances on television and in music videos started to take off. And it didn't take a genius to foresee that the wrestling world wouldn't have The Rock to itself for very long. Even though his appearances in the ring became far more sporadic in the years that followed, his drawing power remained undiminished when Johnson returned to wrestle John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. It generated a remarkable 1.25 million pay-per-view buys, a company record that will surely never be beaten now that pay-per-view model has taken a back seat to network subscriptions, and we know all of that. ESPN, HBO Max, so on, Peacock, the cock, so on and so forth. To this day, his occasional returns to WWE feel like huge moments for the company. Again, let me refer back to last year's WrestleMania. And this whole turn with John Cena, Cody Rhodes. When are you going to come back to complete the story, Rock? You guys are out there in the company trying to make suspend our disbelief and make us believe in what you're doing. And then you come back in these scrums or these shows and you tell everybody how you did it. Well, how are we supposed to buy it if you're telling us how you're selling it? Emotional investment, storytelling, ring psychology. Hello, McFly, is anybody home? If I can figure this out, I know you guys can too. I'm just saying. To this day, his occasional returns feel like huge moments, despite having lost him as a full-time performer long ago. There's no doubt that the company has benefited from its association with the biggest movie star on the planet. But within WWE itself, is Dwayne Johnson the GOAT? That's an interesting question. He headlined the most commercially successful WrestleMania of all time and was at the wheel for one of the company's most successful years in 2000. But it's hard to escape the fact that he had to share his time in the wrestling spotlight with Stone Cold. And for much of that time, it was the Rattlesnake who was presented as the bigger star. They were in many ways the Messi and Ronaldo of pro wrestling, if you get the soccer football correlation there. Two of the greatest ever who happened to show up during the same era. Was Johnson as critical to the company's survival as his greatest rival, Stone Cold? Or as Hogan or San Martino had been in previous eras? Perhaps not. But one important metric is obvious. The Rock is peerless. He is without doubt the brightest star to ever shine in the WWE universe. Now the pros for The Rock to be the GOAT? The biggest mainstream crossover star in wrestling history by an enormous distance. One of the most charismatic performers of all time who was a critical part of the company's greatest boom period. The cons for The Rock? Spent much of his main WWE career sharing the spotlight with Austin, who was arguably presented as the slightly bigger star. Up for debate. Was never quite the transformational franchise player that Austin or Hogan or San Martino ever were. It's the truth. We move on to John Cena on the list of who is the GOAT of the WWE, WWF, a top 10 perspective here. Let me know what you think. It's been a great series for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The chaos, pun intended, of the Attitude Era was never going to last forever. In late '99, the WWF was listed on the New York Stock Exchange and became a publicly traded company in 1999. Meaning it was only a matter of time before it had to play by the same rules as the rest of the corporate America. Sexually suggestive characters, uncensored violence, and reality TV style booking simply did not get in the long term. It didn't gel in the long term. Or get in. You guys get what I'm saying. With a company that had to maintain a respectable profile and, more importantly, had to answer to shareholders about what it was doing to pursue the lucrative family market. Which, you know, with ticket prices nowadays, they certainly don't care about the lucrative family market. price gouging. You priced everybody out, and that's why that these box numbers and sells and buys and contracts are bigger than ever. Lower class, lower middle class, even upper middle class. You have priced the lunch pail, blue collar people out of the business, families, so on and so forth. You just have, no matter what product you're presenting. And that's a fact. By 2005, when Vince McMahon had chosen John Cena as his new face of the company, again, I give you my history with John Cena, however brief. 2 events I worked private security, personal security for John Cena in 2004. The pictures are on the channel to prove it. He was a great guy, very cool to me. Thugonomics. 2005, a year later, is when Vince chose him as the top dog. 2004, I was fortunate and lucky and humble enough and blessed to be able to work private security, well, personal security for John Cena. That's why you're here, the connection that I have, or had. Being able to rub elbows. Legendary nights, as I say. I'll never forget it. Thanks, Cena. I could see you. I saw you that night. Cena was so cool in those days in 04 that he would take fans' cell phones, razor phones back then, talk to somebody's mom or grandma, oh, here. And that's how humble Cena was in 2004 and 05 when Vince made him the face of the company. Think about that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. By 2005, when Vince had chosen John Cena as his new face of the company, the time was right to edge back towards the kind of business model and with which the company had probably always felt more at ease. Cena could pull off the square-jawed American patriot role perfectly. He was far more Hogan than he was Austin. Let that sink in. And he was ready to lead the company into a new era of PG content. In the years that followed, John Cena had more than a share of critics, but he was the consummate company man, even to this day. A safe pair of hands who had a work ethic comparable to Vince McMahon himself and was prepared to pour every ounce of his soul into being the hero the company needed. Stand by, fans. Stand by. I gotta moisten up the pipes. Little espresso. I don't know. It's early here, or late. I don't know. Just know that it's fucking raining. I apologize. Back to John Cena. I'm the GOAT. Who is the GOAT? Part 4. Let's not forget his work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and other charities gave the WWE a constant stream of positive publicity and showered that Cena himself was a genuinely good person. But he was much more than just a reliable ambassador. Cena's abilities as a performer often don't get the credit they deserve. And he did not spend a decade at the top of this industry solely because of his professionalism. A prolific in-ring talent, he had epic matches with the likes of Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, and Edge, among others. His promo work was exceptional too, and the year-long build to his record-breaking main event with The Rock at WrestleMania was one of the more fascinating journeys in company history against the odds. Cena had turned a good portion of the fan base in his favor by the end the two men collided in Miami. And we know here in 2025, it's Cena's retirement year. He's only got a couple of matches left. We're in October of 2025. His last match arguably is supposed to be in December. Will he extend his career? Will he really retire? You guys let me know what you think so. I think he'll retire, but he'll be back. They always come back. Cena will be back. It's been a heck of a ride this year, a weird, wonky one. A lot of balls dropped. We'll see what happens with John Cena. Cena's era was one where the WWE was simultaneously in decline and more successful than ever. Its TV ratings, live attendance, and imprint on popular culture were often far inferior to the now almost mythical Attitude Era. Yet the company had no serious competition, and its lucrative TV deals helped to ensure it was more profitable than ever before. And no, AEW is not competition. Not really. Although the way WWE acts with setting up the days on the same dates of the same events, it looks like it, but come on. AEW has only been in existence 6 years. Not here to talk about that. They have fallen drastically, as has the product. It's just the facts. It's another story for another show. The company hadn't had serious competition, and its lucrative TV deals ensure more profitable than ever before. Cena's own story remains a work in progress, having appeared with less frequency in the WWE over the past few years, and he's starting to tentatively follow The Rock into Hollywood stardom. Whether he or anyone else can enjoy the same runaway success in that arena as Dwayne Johnson remains to be seen. But he's the closest thing to a megastar that WWE has produced since the heady days when Austin and Rock ruled the world, and history will recall that he did a fine job of captaining the ship as it settled into as a role as an entertainment juggernaut, if that makes sense. For the 21st century, wow. By the time John Cena arrived on the scene, WWE's long-term survival was no longer in doubt. Save perhaps for a brief moment of intense media scrutiny about the Benoit tragedy of 2007. But Cena was exactly the respectable face the company needed to take it into the future and ensure it would continue to thrive long after he was gone. Into the era now of Roman Reigns after Cena. And then who's going to follow Roman Reigns? Cody Rhodes. CM Punk is back. Who will be next? Jacob Fatu? Gunther? Braun Steiner? Breaker? So, just to show you where we are, and I still keep up to date on the 2025 product. The pros for John Cena on who is the GOAT? The top man in the company during a decade in which it cemented its position as a multi-billion-dollar empire. A tireless ambassador for the WWE who was genuinely adored by a new generation of young fans that the company sought to attract with its new PG product. The cons for John Cena and who is the GOAT, and I know Michael Cole says it all the time, John Cena is not my GOAT. The Cena years have never saw WWE hit the heights of popularity it enjoyed during the Hulkamania or Attitude Era. A polarizing figure with as many detractors as he has admirers. And as we said in the earlier shows here, the earlier episodes, who is the GOAT? I'll give you my personal opinion here as we wrap up part 4 and the end of this series on who is the GOAT of the WWF, WWE. For me, it's Bruno Sammartino, followed closely by Hulk Hogan. Then after that, I would probably have to say Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are my 3. But the list we just covered in this 4-part mini-series, Bruno Sammartino, Andre the Giant, Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, The Rock, John Cena. Thanks for being here. I had a lot of fun doing this series. Let me know what you think. Check out all 4 parts. And again, thank you so much for being here. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. This is a great distraction and temporary stress reliever for all of us. And I appreciate each and every one of you as I look through the analytics of my members, my subscribers, those of you that tune in. I really appreciate it. Share the word. I think you'll find it interesting. There's nobody else like the G.O.A.T on this platform. I'll say that to say this. Because I tell it like it is. Don't you dare miss it.